Hey everybody, I'm the Grey Doughnut. Welcome back to Paragon. Today I've decided to do something a little bit different on my channel. I've decided to make a top 10 list. Obviously you know that because you fucking clicked on it. You might be asking yourself why I'm doing this. Well, because I want easy views. And top 10 lists get really high amounts of views for really just not a lot of content. So, let's fucking try this out. Without further ado, let's hop into the top 10 cards that I feel that you have to craft as soon as you can because they're amazing. Let's get to it. So really quickly before we get into the nitty-gritty details of each card, I want to let you guys know that the slides you're going to see before each card might be a little different than the actual card. That's because all the cards on the slides are going to be pictures I found from Legacy. I couldn't find any of the updated pictures because the wiki hasn't been updated yet, but all the cards that are going to be on there are from Legacy. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it right after and we'll see the actual card in Monolith. There's very, very tiny differences. Really, the only differences are the amount of stuff like mana regen and health regen and mana total, all that kind of stuff that's different. So just be aware of that. We'll go over the card right after the slide. Shouldn't be any issues after that. At number 10, we have Overflowing Gifts. This is the card that's going to be very useful for support classes, especially Narbash in my opinion. It's going to cost you 5 CP, give you mana regen. The cost is 1200 algae, and the active is grants plus 6 health regen for 15 seconds to yourself and nearby allies. This is really good early game through mid game because the cooldown is so short. It is only 35 seconds, but in the end game you will see a little bit of fall off from this ability. You might want to switch it out towards the late game. At number 9, we have Thunder Cleaver. This card is a personal favorite of mine because I love to jungle. This is going to be very good for jungling, very good on Fangmal, Kalari, and Grux. Keep that in mind. It's even not bad on Rampage. Basically, anybody who's throwing out a ton of basic attack damage in melee range. You don't want to use this for range because the unique passive is melee basic attacks gain an additional 50% damage bonus to cleave, which is wasted because you don't have cleave as a range character. The active is instantly deal basic attack damage as basic damage to nearby enemy units, effectively letting you fit in one more basic strike. It cannot crit hit, keep that in mind. It's going to be a 5 CP and it will cost you 4,800 metal. It costs a lot because it is an epic card. At number 8, we have either Madspore Sash or Radiant Mantle. They are going to be exactly the same except for Radiant Mantle gives you health and mana, and Madspore Sash is going to give you basic armor and health regen. I actually think Madspore Sash has a better passive abilities. Unless you value health and mana, I'm personally a fan of basic armor and health regen, especially with the current meta. So this is going to be really good for anybody in the off lane. It's just going to help you push the lane without really being in too much danger of losing it because you're going to get extra 10 plus player level ability damage per second to nearby enemies. So you can stand in the middle of a minion lane and it'll do 10 plus whatever level you are every second. At number 7, we have Satori Cloak. It gives you 5.5 attack speed and costs 5 card points right off the bat. The unique passive is on hit with basic attack, shred 15% of enemy's basic armor for 1.5 seconds. My absolute favorite character to use this with is Sparrow, but it can be really good for basically anybody trying to deal damage in the order affinity. This is good on Sparrow because basically whenever you shoot an enemy with your arrow, you're going to be shredding that basic armor for 1.5 seconds for your entire team. So if you continually shoot an enemy, which you probably are because you should focus down enemies, then your entire team is going to do 15% extra penetration on his armor for that 1.5 seconds. And remember, every time you hit him, that 1.5 seconds restarts. It's going to cost you 1,200 topaz. It is an uncommon passive, so it's actually not too hard to make. Another one of my favorite cards at number 6 is Lazarus Blade. It's going to cost you 4 points. It gives you 50 health right off the bat. But the really good thing about it is it's a jungle lifesaver. Unique passives are basic attacks on jungle minions, gain plus 15 damage bonus, and restore plus 8 health. So really quickly, if you're hitting 5 jungle minions at once, you're still only going to get plus 8 health. I want to make that perfectly clear. That doesn't stack if you're hitting more than one jungle minion. It's only the one you're focusing. It's always only going to give you that plus 8 health, but your cleave will actually do extra 15 damage bonus, so that is very helpful in that aspect. I suggest you use this really only on junglers The hard part about this is it costs 4 points, and normally you're going to want something like this right off the bat to help you clear the jungle. So what you're going to want to do is go clear the 2 left jungle camps. You don't even have to take any cards. You actually shouldn't spend any of your points, and just go clear the 2 left jungle camps real quick. After that, return to base immediately, and by the time you're back, you'll have enough CP to grab this cart, because you'll have that extra point after clearing those 2 camps. Very, very helpful. You just have to maneuver around it a little bit. It is an epic passive, so it's going to cost you 4,800 metal. Next on the list is going to be Drink the Spirits, and I feel like this is a card that can make or break Countess. I think Countess absolutely needs it. It stacks with her passive amazingly. The passive on this card is on minion kill or player kill or assist, heal for 5% of killed units' health over 10 seconds, and Countess has a passive ability that gives her health return whenever she kills an enemy, and she's an assassin, so for the most part, she should be dealing final blows. This is just going to add 5% of the enemy's health to her health regen from killing them already from her passive. It really, really stacks well on Countess, and that's the biggest suggestion I have for you if you get this card to use it on Countess. It's also very helpful on really anybody that's going to be clearing lanes, but you can really off lane with Countess if you take this card and load it up with some health. It will keep you completely replenished the whole time. Your team won't have to worry about you. You can definitely guard the lane, and it's even going to give you the freedom to go and try and gank the ADC or even the tank that's, you know, helping him out in the support. At number 4, we have Mind Flow. This is a card I find very, very important because this game has pretty much gotten rid of cooldown reduction overall. This is going to give you, while over 50% mana, you gain plus 10% cooldown reduction. It costs 3 points and will give you 30 mana right off the bat. Costs 1200 matrix to craft. This is very helpful because when basically I play Gideon all the time, right? His rock takes about 7 seconds to use in the late game. This makes it about 5 seconds, and that doesn't sound like a huge difference, but it is a lot of difference. And when I'm using Gideon, I'm going all damage, so I'm doing 500 to 600 damage with the rock, and I'm basically getting that rock every 5 seconds. So that's 1,000 damage every 10 seconds if I'm landing my skill shots. It's pretty dang good for an ability user. You can almost like double burst enemies, and also it's going to really help you on any ultimate for any character that you can equip this card. So if that's what you're looking for, pick up this card. I find it very, very, very helpful in almost any situation, especially with mages. 100% with mages. Always take it if you're a mage, I promise. At number 3, we have kind of a weird pick here. It's going to be any token card. And what I mean by that is there's barrier tokens, health potions, cast tokens, health token right here. There's a mana potion. I'm pretty sure there's strike tokens. These are going to be very, very helpful to have because when you're building a deck and you have to return to base, you might have 2 points just because of the way the CP is given out in monolith as opposed to legacy. You're going to have leftover points almost all the time just because it's almost impossible. When you have to go heal and you have 2 points, you can't just spend that on normal cards because you're trying to build a deck. So while you're building that deck, you spend it on 1-cost cards, and then when you're ready to go level up a card, you get rid of all your 1-cost cards, use those points to level up your real cards and to fill out your deck. It really adds some putty, let's say. It adds putty to the holes in your deck, and it's going to make you much stronger for it, especially in the high-ranking games. You're going to need these cards to fill in the little cracks that are making you a little weaker than everybody else and get you on par with the fight. So 1-cost tokens. There's even a 2-cost healer token I find very, very helpful early game, especially for an ADC. If you have somebody that doesn't have Circlet of Health laning with you, you're going to want to take healer token. It's going to keep you alive much better and actually let you soak the lane longer. So keep that in mind. But really, these token cards are lifesavers. You need to get them. At number 2, we have either Barrier of Will or Honor the Pure. These cards are the same, except Honor the Pure costs 6. And Barrier of Will costs 8 CP to get. The active on both of them is shield yourself and nearby allies for 3 seconds, absorbing up to 125 plus 25 times player level damage. That means you're getting 125 point shield when you activate it, and the cooldown is actually pretty good. It's 45 seconds, so whenever there's a team fight, you should have this ready almost, I mean, it's pretty much every time it's going to be ready when you need it. So we get 125. Let's pretend we're at level 10 just because that makes the math easy. 25 times 10 is 250 plus 125. That means we're getting a 375 point shield every 45 seconds whenever we need it. Very, very helpful. Also, another difference between Barrier of Will and Honor the Pure is the unique passive on Barrier of Will gives +7 basic armor and +4 ability armor to nearby allies. I actually prefer Honor of the Pure over Barrier of Will, and I mostly use it on Steel. I strongly suggest you use it on a support or any type of character that's going to be in the middle of the battle and able to be near teammates to, give them the shield when they need it. When the enemy's about to throw down a bunch of ultimates, you're going to want to use the shield, and it could save lives. I think this is a very underrated card, and I think more people need to use it, so I strongly, very, very strongly suggest it to you guys. And the number 1 card on my list is going to be Hydroverser. This card makes mages an absolute nightmare, okay? Gideon has 1200 mana at the end of the game. Pretty much, I'm pretty sure every mage has the same mana. I haven't done the math exactly. At the end of the game, whether they take, without even taking any mana at all. Okay, so just the passive mana you get from leveling up will end up around 1200. Okay, let's pretend it's only 1000 at the end of the game, right? So this card costs 8 cards, and the passive on it, gain power equal to 7% of your current mana. So we have 1000 mana. That means we're getting 70 points of power just for having this card. Okay, and the great thing about it is this is the bad thing about it. When you use your mana, you'll start progressively doing less damage because you have less mana at that point. The great thing about it is it comes with mana regen, and we're gonna fill it up. We're gonna fill this card until we get at least 1 point of mana regen extra per second, and we're pretty much always gonna have full mana. Especially as a mage, you're still getting a ton of mana regen without actually picking it up in your deck just from the passive buff of leveling up. So it's a very, very, very powerful card. You guys will know what I mean when I use it. I think it's absolutely overpowered. It gives you some health, it gives you some mana regen, and it absolutely helps your damage 100%. This is what I was talking about with Gideon earlier, doing 500 to 600 damage with my rocks. And then I had Mind Flow to use cooldown reduction and let me throw my rocks even sooner. It makes Gideon a nightmare. Gideon is doing so well right now in the meta. You have to get this card and try it out. I promise you it's the best. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do love you guys. Let me know in the comments if you guys think I made good decisions on my top 10 cards. I didn't have any help. This is completely my opinion. I want to know what you guys think. Tell me I'm an idiot. I want to know your opinions so I can learn to be better at this game, because I'm trying to help you guys be better at this game, and I just want it to be a big circle of life. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, guys, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.